Alright, story time, chapter 2 of A Natural Born Killer. Over the next week or so, it was apparent Cindy was viewing me in a different light, albeit tempered, I was sure, by some input from Lori and Rhonda. Cindy, bright and attentive, always remained in the background as the two older girls and I observed the two sisters with increasing apprehension. Cindy just couldn't get her head around how a creature so lovely could cause us so much consternation. She was soon to get a hard lesson. Lori and Rhonda wanted no part of the sisters. Neither did the herd, nor they with the herd. The horse would just eye them suspiciously and kind of bunch into little protective groups. I was increasingly uneasy with the situation, and my cautious overtures towards Big Sister I quickly abandoned as fruitless. One of the two older girls or myself were still going out to the fields with Cindy to help her round up her mare Fancy at this point, and one evening after dinner I was with Cindy. Usual procedure was a coffee can of oats in hand. I worked my way from back to front of the herd, tossing oats on the ground as treats, observing my charges for illness or injury, and assisting a newbie, in this case Cindy, to put a bridle on their horse. I'd then continue through the front of the herd and at that point proceed with whatever tutorial point I was at with the newbie. Cindy's mare Fancy was a mid-packer in the pecking order, and she, having largely forgiven me for beating her up emotionally, waited patiently, Fancy at hand, as I worked my way towards the front of the herd. "Scott!" Cindy screamed, and the panic and fear in her voice unmistakable. I wheeled to my left and back, thinking she was in trouble. An orange blur went past my face as I was turning and dealt a devastating blow. I was sent tumbling through the air. It wasn't until I hit the ground I could comprehend what had happened. It was Big Sister. Landing, I rolled desperately. I was hurting, but I didn't know how bad. Cindy was shrieking. Rolling, I crabbed and then struggled to my feet, gasping. She must have hit me at a dead gallop, was my first thought. I'd flown so far. My left arm was hanging uselessly at my side. My ribs on that side hurt so bad I was having trouble drawing breath, and on my first step I nearly fell over. My left leg was so bad. The big mare stood calmly and confidently staring at me across the way as little sister greedily nuzzled the oat can at her feet. She just tried to kill me. Probably would have if Cindy hadn't cried out. My left arm useless, clutching my ribs with the other, I attempted another step and nearly fell over again. I won't have a chance if she comes at me, I thought, realizing just how bad she'd hurt me. The herd stood watching in shocked, nervous uncertainty.